Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Sending a fourth stimulus check and a fifth stimulus check would keep 12 million of our fellow Americans out of poverty, according to a new report. And this was pointed out by Business Insider. Folks, this tells us that more help is needed for the most vulnerable amongst us. Welcome to this new episode of Ignition Time. Please click the like button, please subscribe and enable notifications. That really means a lot to us, and that is your way of supporting our channel. According to a new report from the Economic Security Project, and we'll show you this report on your screen right now. And as always, you'll get a link to all of our resources in the description section below. Here's a very important part of the report. Let's check out this statement on your screen right now. Evidence from the last year shows stimulus checks to be the fastest and most impactful investments helping Americans get through the crisis, lifting more people out of poverty than any other single policy. Direct payments, meaning stimulus checks to households, are broad enough to help those people who need it, filling the holes in other programs like unemployment insurance, while flexible enough to allow people to solve their own unique challenges. Cash has been the leading force in reducing poverty during one of the most deepest recessions in modern history, and is one of the only policies that can narrow persistent imbalances in poverty, income, and wealth between Americans of color and white Americans. Folks, this is another way of saying that the stimulus checks were absolutely critical. Some of us used the stimulus checks to buy food, others used it to make rent, others used it to keep the lights on, and some used it to pay down credit card bills. Different individuals used stimulus checks in different ways, and they were extremely helpful because they gave individuals the flexibility to deal with their own unique challenges. In fact, let's scroll down this report and go to page 2 of this report, where this report highlights the beneficial impact of the stimulus checks. A smart and effective investment, boost consumer spending, increase small business revenue, especially in rural communities which have been battered, which have been decimated as a result of this pandemic in different parts of the country. Now, some parts of the country are doing better than others, but this is designed to be a national analysis, a global analysis of what's going on across the country. This can also increase state and local revenue, because if people use the stimulus checks and go out and spend the money, that leads to more state and local revenue for the local cities and local counties that we live in. Here are other benefits associated with the stimulus checks. A powerful poverty reducer. Folks, you've heard me talk about the cycle of poverty that you see on your screen right now. Some families take decades, in some cases generations, to escape the cycle of poverty. And what the stimulus checks have allowed people to do is try and stay out of the cycle of poverty, because once you get back into the cycle of poverty, it's very hard to escape it. Let's get back to this report. The stimulus checks were a powerful poverty reducer. The primary reason poverty fell at the start of the recession was because of the first stimulus check. Stimulus checks were also the driving force behind the American Rescue Plan, which, by the way, included the largest stimulus check, $1,400, which is projected to cut child poverty in half, mostly due to investments in direct cash payments and the new income floor for families with children. In fact, let's show you this chart from this report, which shows us projected poverty levels after all the stimulus checks, after all the cash infusions in 2021. Take a look at the bar at the top. 44 million individuals were projected to be in poverty before the American Rescue Plan. After the massive $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, the number of individuals in poverty reduced from 44 million and is projected to reduce down to 28 million as a direct result of the stimulus check and other credits like the earned income tax credit, the child tax credit. Now, if there is going to be another stimulus check, the fourth stimulus check, that is going to cut down poverty down from 28 million, as you can see on your screen, down to 21 million individuals. And with a fifth stimulus check, in other words, if there are two or more checks beyond the third stimulus check, which was a $1,400 stimulus check, the number of individuals in poverty will shrink from 28 million down to 16 million. In other words, 12 million of our fellow Americans will be able to escape the cycle of poverty because of stimulus checks. And I want our viewers and subscribers to know that it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. For me, it's not about the red or the blue, it's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I'm American. We are all Americans first. Folks, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. This is good politics. According to this report, this was the year that cash broke through as smart policy and winning politics because this was a winning political motivator. And here are some more interesting findings from this report. Low-income individuals need money more than high-income individuals, and they spend it more quickly than high-income individuals. This is extremely interesting. Low-income households are more likely to spend their stimulus money, while higher-income households are more likely to save it or potentially to invest it. In fact, what do poor families do? What do low-income families do with the stimulus money? They use it to buy food. They use it to make rent. They use it to keep the lights on. They inject that money back into the economy, creating jobs for others. High-income individuals tend to save that money, tend to invest that money, put it into the stock market, put it into their savings account, because they don't need that money right then and there. This proves that if there are going to be future stimulus checks, a fourth and a fifth stimulus check, they should be better targeted towards those who need help the most, towards those who are low income. So what is it that the most poor, the most vulnerable in our country, or for that matter anywhere in the world, need? Here's an interesting experiment, if you will, from Stockton. This was the Stockton Economic Empowerment Demonstration seed. And by the way, this was the first version of the Universal Basic Income experiment that I have covered in other videos on our channel. This leads to cash flow, good jobs, health and well-being, quality of life and dignity for the most vulnerable amongst us. Individuals who need help the most can now finally live a life with quality and dignity when they get the help that they need. Here are even more benefits, everyone. Direct cash paid on a regular basis can help Americans avoid high interest debt like credit cards and payday loans, because once you get stuck in this vicious cycle of paying interest and paying off debt, it's very hard to escape that cycle. I know you know that because I've been a victim of that myself as I was trying to grow my own financial capabilities. Also, here's something else. Early in the pandemic, most individuals spent their money on essentials because many people had lost jobs that they had worked in for decades. Here are some more fascinating points from page 7 of this report. Once again, you'll get this report in the description section below, so make sure you check out the description section and read the report for yourself. During the pandemic, low-income individuals have consistently had a harder time meeting regular expenses than higher income individuals and white individuals. In fact, disproportionately, individuals of color, I'm talking African American and Hispanic individuals, have had a harder time meeting their expenses than white individuals, according to this report. Also, low income individuals are experiencing historically high levels of unemployment because their jobs in travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality have been decimated and in many cases have been lost forever. Here's another statement from the letter that jumped out at me. The crisis is far from over and families deserve certainty that they can put food on the table and keep a roof over their heads. Families should not be at the mercy of constantly shifting legislative timelines and ad hoc solutions. Folks, we know what happened during the second half of 2020. It was a chess game like you see on your screen. It was a chess game between former President Trump, between the then Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, involving the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and it drove us absolutely bananas. Folks, the solution should be economic, not political. The aid should be targeted to those who need help the most, because the fact is there are some individuals who need help much more than others. In fact, 150 economists wrote an open letter to the administration a few months ago urging automatic triggers, economic triggers, and reoccurring stimulus payments, which means that what they were suggesting is that as the economy in a specific state declines, let's say a state suffers a natural disaster or some other calamity, that state, and specifically residents who need help the most vulnerable, low-income earners in that state who have lost their jobs, should get the most help. In the end, I believe the solution should be economic and not political. So that's it, everyone. Let me know what you think about the fourth and the fifth stimulus check. Do you think it should happen? More importantly, do you think aid should go to those who need it the most? And whether the stimulus checks have played an important role in your survival during the horrific year that we had last year during the pandemic. I believe we're still not out of the woods yet, although I can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We need to be very careful because this thing is surging in other parts of the world, and I don't think we should declare victory too early. I think we need to be careful, we need to be smart, and we need to be fair with each other and help those who need help the most. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. Please click the like button, subscribe, and enable notifications. That is how you can support our efforts. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.